I am back with another Reddit Reacts. I can't get enough of the Am I the A-hole thread. If you haven't gotten into it, I'll link in the description. You have to check it out. We have a bunch of stories to get through today. Let's start off with this first one. We're starting off with a zinger. This one is entitled, Am I the A-hole for telling my neighbor to grow up, get a life, and get the fuck over the fact that I painted my house a color he doesn't like? This is already interesting, and because we said it just like that, I am actually not sure if you are or not. Let's get into it. This reads, I bought a house in a community without an HOA. Oh, you're living the dream. I hate HOAs. I think they're so stupid. And also, they want to control everything. And Sean calls them, what do you call them? Keepers of the sacred flame? I was hoping he would say it, but he's quiet over there. Keepers of the sacred flame, because it's silly. And it's just a way to control people. And nobody wants cars on cinder blocks in their front yard or couches sitting out in the rain. But I don't really think we need a HOA for that, but maybe we do. I don't know. I'm not a fan, so I'm really jealous of you. So we're in a house, in a community, without an HOA. I wanted my home to be my home. I feel that. And that includes making it look the way that I want. I also chose a neighborhood that already has fun, colorful houses instead of just plain earth tones. Love that. That's why I love Santa Monica. Everybody's doing their own thing. All the homes look a little different. I feel like it probably represents who lives inside, which I love that. I finally got to the point where I could repaint my house. I picked a soft peachy color with sage blue and soft and dark pink accents. Sounds lovely. Fun and colorful without being too out there. Yeah, soft peachy colors, like, that's just nice. It's soft. It's not like you painted your house like fluorescent orange or anything. I think if you Google colors blue sage peach, you'll see a similar palette. Okay. My neighbor Paul fucking hates it and has been complaining since we started the project. Is he just coming over to your place, to the place where you live, to your home, to your residence and complaining to you? He also made his opinion known that he hates our front lawn. Lots of wildflowers and sunflowers. That sounds beautiful. I actually really love wildflower front yards. Fun garden flags, a little free library, etc. Oh, I love those little free libraries. Okay. Each and every time I've told him that I don't care. I know. Also, you don't have to care. Why is he even yell to somebody else, Paul, in your own home, where it's painted however you want to be painted? Truly, I don't. And I've suggested a few times that maybe he'd be happier in an HOA community. Very fair. That has control over everything and forces people into having earth-toned homes. Paul got angry when I suggested that and said he's lived in his home for 15 years and shouldn't have to move. Hey, you're not the one with the problem. He's the one with the problem. The one with the problem, if he can't get over it, they'll either stay and shut up or move. I told him, okay, well, you'll have to learn to live with a little color. Fair. Also, it sounds like your whole community, you said, is like colorful. So why is it because yours is like too close? Does he have to look at it in the morning? Oh my God, no. Last weekend, I was putting in pavers. Wow, you're doing so much work. I'm impressed by you. I have so much I should do around my house that I have not. That my niece and I had painted together. They're all things like ladybugs, turtles, birds, etc. in fun colors. I adore them, and my niece is so excited that she gets to be part of my home. I think that's really cute. Paul came over to complain yet again, saying it was all an eyesore, and my niece was here. So I just told him, it's time for you to grow up and get the fuck over what I'm doing with my house. You said that in front of your niece? Ooh. Okay, he got even pissier and told me that I have no right to talk to him this way. Do I know who I'm talking to? Except, yeah, your name is Paul, and you're my annoying neighbor who comes over to bitch about everything. I told him just go away and get a fucking life. If he has so much free time to bitch and moan about a colorful house, maybe he should get a hobby. He stormed off, calling me a nasty piece of work. My niece was cracking up on the inside. For the record, no one in my family's uptight. We really don't care about cursing. There we go. Okay. I am that way also, but I know that some people don't like to do that, so that's fair. Actually, one of my favorite, you guys, if you've been following me for a long time, you know this about me, but one of my random, like, secret things that I enjoy is children cussing on the internet, especially when they use it properly, but almost even more funny when they don't. I don't know. I find it really funny. I know some people still clutch their pearls over it around kids. She's 15. Oh, 15. She's heard it all. But I'm sure she says worse, yes. Anyway, one of the other neighbors came to tell me that he's been flapping his yap about how disrespectful I am to talk to him like that. She told me that she knows he's a pain, but that he has been in the neighborhood forever and it's worth being nice to him. I don't know. Is telling him to get a life that big of a deal? Am I the a-hole? First of all, there's so many things going on here. You moved in, you're changing things about a home. That's your right. There's no HOA, so there are no rules. You get to do whatever you want. You technically could paint your house like super bright orange. You could be the highlighter house. People could talk about it. It's like, any house in a community. Sean and I in Santa Monica, there used to be the mosaic house, and it was legitimately, you'd see this little old Greek man outside his home breaking up pieces of tile and filling in part of his mosaic home that had fallen off because it had been there forever. If anybody's from Santa Monica, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I loved it. It made it quirky and funny and weird, and that's what makes a community a community. Now, if I wanted to not have that, I would live in a community that has an HOA. I would petition to make a certain area an HOA, like where Sean and I live just outside of Austin right now wasn't an HOA, and then they made it an HOA later on, and some people in our community are like, they hate that. That's fair, but those are the things that you can do. So you're doing everything that you have rights to do. But this person, for whatever reason, thinks that they have to agree with what somebody else does on their property. And I'll never understand neighbor disputes that don't involve something that's actually harming their property or them. Like if you had a tree that was dropping stuff into their yard, I could be like, oh, you should probably trim it back from there, or talk to them about what you should do. Like we have neighbors like that too, where we have a tree that affects us both, but it's our responsibility. You have to figure that out and communicate. And I know people don't like to communicate, especially about things that are emotionally charged about, but he is going out of his way to yell at you. And he's going out of his way to try to tell you what to do with your property, which is just not appropriate. And he can like it or not, just like we do with everything in life, but I don't know why everybody thinks that their opinion needs to be heard by other people. And I don't actually know what he thinks is going to happen by saying that to you. That's what I always think when people like try to pick fights or say something. Like even when I get shitty comments online, I'm like, what did you expect me to do with that? Why don't you have a channel? Or why doesn't he do what he wants with his house? Spoilers, he is, and you're not giving him shit about that. So in my ruling, no, you are not the a-hole. It sounds like your neighbor is. However, I wish that he was better able to communicate in a way that wasn't like to start a fight. Like even the way he talks to you is super disrespectful, and it's like he's already coming in angry and mad, so then you're defensive as well, and that's why you're telling him, get a fucking life, dude. Like, what are you doing over here? I don't know how I would respond either. I don't know if I would say it like that. I might say like, I don't know what you expect me to do. This is my property. I'm gonna do what I wanna do. If you have a problem, take it up with whoever listens to you still, which isn't me. I don't think I could put up with it much better than you. So no, you're not the a-hole. Your neighbor is, but sometimes, man, I just wish people could have like better discourse about things. And frankly, this shouldn't even be something you're talking about because it's none of his business what you do with your property. I also am making huge leaps and assumptions here, but he's probably a very controlling person in general. I wouldn't be surprised if he either has a very meek wife or husband, like someone who's very passive, or he's single. And there he can be the controller of his whole home because nobody can bear to be around him. Probably doesn't even have animals, because he'd be a total asshole to them. Sounds kind of like a jerk. So he's the jerk, not you. Okay. Moving right along to our second. This one is entitled, Am I the a-hole for telling my dad there will be no making up for missing my high school graduation? This is already very interesting. I'm ready. Are you guys ready? Let's jump in. I am 18, male, graduating high school at the end of this month. Congratulations. My dad dropped the bomb on me 2 nights ago that his stepdaughter, who's 14 and female, has an award ceremony for some competition she entered and won in another state on that same day. Wait, okay. Just so we're all keeping track. 18 male is graduating high school. Big deal. Stepdaughter, 14 female, has an award ceremony for a competition, which should be great to be at both, but we cannot be in 2 places at once. Okay? So in another state on that same day, and that she really wants him to be there. He told me he couldn't possibly make it to both, yes, and since his wife and their children together will be going, he needs to be there too. He told me he would make it up to me and we could celebrate another time. I still live with him, not for much longer. Oh, he's like with you. I'm so confused. Maybe this other state is because the competition was in another state? Okay, I still live with him, not for much longer. My mom died when I was 7. Okay, and my dad got married again when I was 11 or 12. It's been a few years anyway. His stepdaughter never knew her bio dad, so my dad has accepted her as his own. That's lovely. What a wonderful thing to have happen. And he has prioritized her a lot in the last 5 to 6 years. It doesn't always show in the most obvious ways, but it can be felt. I get what you're saying. Father-son time was put on an indefinite hiatus, and instead Dad told me we needed to include her in our time together. There is something I want to say here real quick, that I know I'm not a parent, but I do read a lot of research about parenting and childhood development and brain development, emotional intelligence growth in children, all that stuff. I even read a bunch of research recently about social media and its effect on our development of our children, blah, blah, blah. All that to say that we do know that when we have children, especially multiple children, this is only really happens when we have multiple children, that our child needs one-on-one time with each parent. Now I know people who have like, let's say a whole group of kids, let's say you have like 5 or 6 kids, you're like, how am I supposed to make time? You just do. You have the one parent stay with the other children for an hour or two, and you take one child to go grab lunch, or you take another child to their soccer practice or whatever. Or you go and do something with your child, or maybe at home, you spend a little time with them on a project that they want to work on. Maybe they want to learn how to do friendship bracelets, or they want to learn how to make a birdhouse. I don't know. You do that thing with them, because that one-on-one time is really key, not only for the relationship and the connection, healthy attachment, am I right? But it's also really important for building their confidence. And it's a big piece of being what we call in the psychological research, they say like feeling seen, heard, and understood by a primary caregiver. And that is really vital to our development as we grow up. So just throwing that in there. Okay. So the fact that he said you had to include her in your time together really bums me out for you, and I'm so sorry. But he also spent time with just her for father-daughter time. Wait, so then you got the shaft and she didn't? I brought it up to my dad and he told me I wasn't exactly making an effort to be closer to her. So he wanted us all to bond and didn't want me to just focus on my relationship with him. Ooh, I'm sorry. It's painful for me even to read this. He has attended her dance things instead of my basketball games if they were at the same time. It doesn't matter if mine was known about first, he will still skip my stuff to go to hers. Ooh. Parents playing favorites is never a healthy thing to do. I obviously don't know that experience, but I'm just telling you that's not ever going to bode well for your relationship with your child or the healthy development with your child. And it also creates a really unhealthy dynamic in the family where even the child that you're giving more attention to or giving preference to, you're not making it easy for them either going forward, because what will happen is that they will have this blueprint of their life where everybody always puts them first. And I'm telling you, I've seen it with patients. I've seen it in some of my friends' families, some people in my family, where that, what we'll just call spoiled child or preferenced child, has a really hard time with friends because friends will not do what their parents were doing, and then they'll get in fights with them pretty quickly about like, why didn't you put me first and you didn't show up for this thing, and I get to decide what we do. And there'll be this weird power dynamic where they may find a friend who's really passive, but then it only lasts for so long. And then romantic relationships, don't even get me started. It can be really, really unhealthy for them to think that they can always be put first, that there's no give and take, that there's no balance in relationship dynamics. That's just not good. Okay. He will take us on family days, and whenever he and his wife say kids can choose, he picks her choices over mine. See what I'm talking about? She'll always think she can do that. He claims it's because they will be the most fun for everyone, but really, he even says it afterward, anything his little princess wants. Interesting. Our refrigerator and our shower broke at the same time. His stepdaughter's birthday was coming up, so he took money from my birthday fund to pay for that stuff, and so his stepdaughter would definitely get what she wanted, this Barbie house thing and a whole fashion set, and they were, I think Dad said, $250. He didn't get all the money back by the time my birthday came around, so instead he bought me a $30 gift card for Steam. I don't know what Steam is, but when he had promised me a new monitor and keyboard for my computer, that was a gift from my grandparents. Oh, I'm so sorry. When my dad told me he wouldn't be at my graduation to go and support her, I told him there was no making up for that and he can forget about being included in my life going forward. Ooh, shots fired. He told me he would make it up to me, and I told him I will always come second to his little princess and I'm not going to be okay with that. That's fair. I I feel like that's fair. I told him he discarded me for the last time. Dad begged me to be reasonable, but I walked away. Then I invited both sets of grandparents who agreed to come. Yay, I'm glad you have your grandparents. His wife told me I could have come with them and I don't need to attend the ceremony. Whoa. Okay. I'm sorry. I know that we're not supposed to weigh and measure accomplishments or events, like one's more important, but clearly we can all agree, right? That a graduation from high school is a big event. You want your family there. Your dad can't make that up. Some competition, I know it's also important. He can't be in both places. So he, as your father, should come to your graduation and the other family members can go to her thing, which there'll be other award ceremonies for other events. I can tell you that my dad worked away from home a lot, and I don't know if he came to I competed at state for softball and then also for singing, if you did not know. I sing for my competition, but I can for sure tell you my mom was there. I don't know if my dad was, though. But anyways, it doesn't matter. I don't remember because my dad was at my high school graduation, and that was way more important to me. Oh, my God. This is wild. I'm glad both your grandparents are there. Says his wife told me I could come with them. Can't believe they're going to try to get you out of your own ceremony. You want to fucking go to that stupid award thing, but could attend my ceremony but could support my sister. I said, her daughter's not my sister, and I don't want to support their family anymore, and I will be out of their hair soon. She called me selfish and told me I can't deny her daughter a dad. Am I the a-hole? Okay, so this one's pretty straightforward, and also Reddit agrees. No, you're not the a-hole. Now, I will, as a way to be fair and balanced, because that's what we want to do, I will say that I don't know if this could have been any better, but maybe there was a better way to say something. Obviously, you drew a hard line. I would have done the same thing. However, some communication as things were happening, which maybe you did. It sounds like you might have, but I'm just throwing it out there for anybody that we want to give people a chance to meet us where we need them to meet us. And when it comes to parents who are obviously very inept and, I don't know, trying to overcompensate, and that happens sometimes. I had a podcast episode where I talked about having a special needs sibling and how that can change the dynamic for the child that doesn't need as much care. And it's almost like this here, where because your half-sister, stepsister, because she doesn't know her dad and your dad is stepping in to be the dad, he's trying to make up for that. And then that's in essence leaving you with less, with nothing, pretty much. I think sometimes parents try to do that and it ends up leaving us in the lurch and it affects us deeply. And so no, you're not the a-hole, not even a little bit, but I wish there was a little bit more communication up front so that it didn't have to come to this. Because the thing that I do worry about is the fact that you're I don't want to be part of your life. I'll get out of your hair as soon as possible. You're almost like you're dead to me is the vibe that I get from this. And I always feel really bad for anybody who has to completely disconnect from family because it's still your dad. And honestly, you're angry because you're hurt, which is very rightfully so. I'm hurt for you. This whole thing makes me very angry. I wish I could sit your dad down and try to speak some sense to him, because you don't have to always put one person first. Your son's not doing well. This isn't healthy for him. You can't pick one over the other. Super, super frustrating. So I'm angry for you, but you're not the a-hole, but maybe we could communicate a little bit better earlier on so we don't have to draw this line in the sand, because I don't want you to feel like you don't get a dad either. Moving on to our third and final, Am I the a-hole? It is entitled, Am I the a-hole for not giving my sister my wife's clothes? This is already very interesting. It says, my wife was a corporate lawyer and mediator. Ooh, fancy. She had some very nice work clothes. She was diagnosed with ovarian cancer and was gone in 2 years. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. There's a lot of grief in this thread for some reason lately. The last 6 months of her life were hell. Ooh. My sister Sarah didn't do jack shit for us during that time. My wife never liked her. I do not like her. She is a selfish cow. Ooh, shots fired. My wife's wake, she started asking about my wife's clothes. At the wake? Jesus criminy, give it a minute. There is nothing worse, or I don't even know. I don't know if it's classless, it's disrespectful. There's a lot of terms I could use to describe this kind of behavior, but when someone passes away, the proper reaction is not, oh, can I have their stuff? The proper reaction is, I'm so sorry for your loss. Is there anything that I can do for you? This must be really hard. Can I help out? I don't know. Like the most common I got when my dad passed away was people offering to make me food, which I didn't really want, but the gesture was nice. And friends checking in on me. That was beautiful. That's what we want, right? Not, can I take her clothes? The audacity. You brushed her off. I'm glad. She deserved to be brushed off. She wanted to pick out a few pieces to remember my wife by, and I ignored her. Under normal circumstances, if she was very close to your wife, I can understand that, because when my grandma passed away, I mean, I wanted kind of silly objects, one could say. Like she had these speckled, does anybody remember these speckled bowls from, I think they're from the 70s, maybe the 60s, but my grandma had them and she would always make cakes and stuff with me in those, and we would make coleslaw dressing together. I know it's very specific, but there were these certain like colored speckled bowls and I wanted them. They weren't worth anything. They're probably like, I mean, they might be fancy now, like vintage by now, but I really wanted those and I didn't get them. And I was bummed I didn't ask sooner. But there are specific things that we do want from those people that we love when they pass away, things that we remember them by. Like, oh, I remember she always wore this sweater or this necklace or something. And some items might be worth a lot of money, others maybe not. But the fact that you weren't close to her and your wife hated her, my wife never liked her, I do not like her, then why is she wanting to remember your wife by anything? So, rightfully so, this person says, I ignored her. It's been 6 months and I've attended my mom's birthday, but I'm still not in the mood to deal with people. It's only been 6 months. I'm so sorry. Then Sarah comes asking about my wife's clothes. She must have some clothes. I told her my wife wanted me to donate them to this women's shelter and she often helped. It would help women in need with their own court cases, court appointments, and job interviews. Oh, that's beautiful. Years ago, Sean and I donated some clothes to this place that kind of did something like that, and I didn't even know it had existed. It was like to help people get jobs, get themselves back on their feet. I thought that was so beautiful. So that is really great. My sister Sarah said my wife was even selfish and deaf. Oh my God. I'm sorry, but if someone passes away, they get a right to decide what happens with their things. Or the person who's left, who, inherits all of their things, gets to decide. It's not on someone else to say whether or not that should happen, right? We can be mad about how things take place. I've heard from a lot of you that during death and divorce, people can be kind of nasty and all of a sudden change who they are and like decide that everything belongs to them. And if there isn't anything explicitly written in the will, we have to go along with it. But that's not what's happening here. It sounds like, maybe I'm extrapolating, but it sounds like she wasn't part of your guys' life. You never really liked her. Your wife didn't like her. It's not like you're hanging out with her every day. And then now she's calling your wife selfish for what? Donating her time to this great place that offers assistance to people and free legal sources, essentially, and to get them job interviews. She's selfish for leaving her clothes to them. How? Sounds like there's only one person being selfish. I bet we can guess who it is. I asked her, what the fuck did she mean? Ooh. And she started going off on how my wife always thought she was better than her, and it's not fair that the clothes are going to charity and not to family. So which is it? Is your recently deceased wife selfish, or does she think she's better than everybody? And why would Sarah get anything if this is how she feels about your wife? Huh. I told my sister I'd rather see my wife's clothes lit on fire than on her back. Ooh, my sister started crying. Wow, that's a bizarre emotional response. Sometimes it's interesting. I've said this before in videos, but when people have an emotional response that is greater than the situation at hand necessitates, it tells us that there's more going on. Like Sarah, your sister, clearly has her own issues. Maybe she did love your wife. Maybe I'm making assumptions that aren't true. Maybe she was closer. It doesn't sound like it, because I would never I wouldn't even feel comfortable asking for clothes from like my grandma, who I love deeply. 6 months, I don't know, it just seems very, I wouldn't even be in that position to even think about that yet. But the fact that she's crying over you, essentially telling her she's not going to get what she wants, sounds like this is something Sarah probably has done before. Because again, her reaction is way greater than this situation necessitates. And that tells us there's like more. It's almost like, you know, when you see a little iceberg, they say like most of it's under the water. That's what this is. You were seeing the iceberg, this little boop up top, and that's her crying. And you're like, what is going on? Does she believe, I guess this is a question, not that this person can respond, but this is a question to the person who asked this and posed this, is this how Sarah reacts when she doesn't get her way? Has she always, I think you said younger sister. So does she, I mean, I'm the youngest, but so it's no dig on youngest people, but does she, or youngest siblings, does she think that she's always entitled to what she wants? Does she always get what she wants, usually from your parents? Just curious. Okay, so my sister started crying and my mom came over to see what was wrong. My mom told me to be easy on my sister because she was taking my wife's death hard. The fucking insanity of that coming out of my mom's mouth made me grab my gift and leave. My mom acts like I had to ruin her birthday by being melodramatic, but I cannot believe their emotional blackmail towards me over fucking clothes that they have no right to. Am I the a-hole? Wow. It's interesting in families, especially when grief and loss comes into play. First of all, this is your wife, and you're taking it the hardest. I mean, that's obvious. I don't feel like that even needs to be said. And maybe your sister is taking her death hard, but why is she then calling her selfish, even in death, and saying that I always thought she was better than her? Those things don't go together. I don't know about you, but I've had a lot of loss in my life. People I'm super close to, complicated relationships, and none of that looked like this, even if I was taking it hard. So there's something weird in the dynamic of your family. And also the fact that your mom like protected her and then was like, why'd you have to ruin my birthday by being melodramatic? Because I just lost my wife. The whole thing feels very like a unhealthy family dynamic. Because I believe, now we're making a lot of assumptions here. I believe that Sarah always got her way. And when Sarah doesn't get her way and she gets upset, mom comes in to save. And I would assume if we look back, that pattern has repeated itself a lot. And it's no different even in this crisis, this time of upset and loss in your life, that you are made out to be the bad guy, even though you're the one who lost your wife and you don't enjoy your sister. And so you're not going to give her anything of your wife's. And I think that's fair. So I'm going to rule, no, you are not the a-hole. Your sister has no right to your wife's clothes. If you chose to give them to her, that would be something you could do. But it sounds like, honestly, what your wife wants to do, I think is great. Helping people get back on their feet. What a selfless way to be. What a great way to pass on the physical wealth that she had in life. I think it's beautiful. So you know who is the a-hole? Sarah. I hope you guys enjoy these. Let me know if you have some, link them. If there's some that you want me to do a review on or something you want me to talk about. There are so many cool Reddit threads, whether it's the Am I the A-hole? The therapy thread is fascinating. Narcissists, fascinating. Let me know, leave them in the comments. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you next time.